Well, cheers everybody. I am so glad to be here because I have a massive pile of library holds that have just come in. I had postponed or paused a lot of my holds and then didn't really realize that I had paused them all to like the same date. So I have a huge stack of books that have come in for me, and while I could have paused them again or just not gotten them out, I am actually on vacation for a few days, a week or so, and thought, you know what, I'm just gonna bring them in, then I'll just have a pile of books to choose from. I wanna do a bunch of reading on my time off, and this will give me some choices. So let us go through the pile here. I have already read a few of them, and then I'm gonna go on with my day. But first, let us partake in the cafe. Yeah, let's get going. We have Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy, and this was up for the Women's Prize in Nonfiction. I have no idea if it made the shortlist or not. And I actually have this coming as an audiobook. I have gotten into the habit of listening to nonfiction audiobooks as I drive to and from work. And so I don't think I'm actually going to read this one physically. I'm not sure why I even got it out physically. I didn't realize it was coming to me. So I will probably be returning this one without reading it in this format, but I definitely have it coming as an ebook, and that's how I will be consuming that book. We have Mona's Eyes by Thomas Schlesser. This is the Barnes & Noble Book of the Year. And while I don't always get along with the Barnes & Noble Books of the Year, this one seemed kind of interesting. You are following a, is it a grandfather and something? I'm not sure what the relationship is, but it's a older gentleman and a younger girl, I believe, and they kind of start going through museums and learning about every art piece. And that seems to me, oh, it is her grandfather. That to me just seems like a really nice kind of book to read. I enjoy learning about art a lot. I'm not sure if it super delves very deeply into it, but it's just a book that was intriguing and wanted to at least give it a go, say that I'd give it a shot. Awake in the Floating City by Susanna Kwan. I have no idea what this is about. I don't know why it's here. It's a debut novel about an unexpected relationship between an artist and the 130-year-old woman she cares for. Two of the last people living in the flooded San Francisco of the future. I think possibly this was up for, I don't know what the award is called, but it's like a climate change book prize. And I don't love climate change books a lot of the time, but there are just so many of them. And I wanted to give this one a go. I believe I was listening to Simon Savage, who was on the panel for the climate change, and he just made some of these books sound really interesting, so I thought I'd pick it up. Again, there's a lot here. I'm not necessarily going to get to them all, but that is one that I will at least attempt to, well, I'll at least give it a little shot to. We then have Perspectives, a novel by Laurent Binet, and this is translated from the French by Sam Taylor. I have no idea what this is about. I don't know why I picked it up, but I did. It's tiny. I will give it a shot. What is the first line? It says, "Let nobody say that I am incapable of repentance." I will not say that then. And that has been added to the TBR pile. This book I have read. I finished it yesterday. It is book 3 in Dungeon Crawler Carl, The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinaman. I already have book 4 on hold. I just am really enjoying this series, as is almost everybody I know who has tried to give this a shot. Paradiso 17 by Hannah Lilith Asadi. This was up for the Women's Prize in Fiction. I have read quite a substantial portion of the Women's Prize in Fiction. I tried to do a video on it and I didn't like it, so it's not going to see the light of day. At some point, maybe I will put my thoughts out there on it, but I actually quite enjoyed this book. This one did not make the short list. 2 of my favorites did, so I'll be okay with it. But in this one, you are following, what is his name? Sufyan, and it's very much about the diaspora, being Palestinian and his life, and it's not a happy book, but it is a very well written book, and I enjoyed reading it, but the content was pretty intense. This book I was super excited to read. It is Crux by Gabrielle Talent, and in this book you are following they're not girls. One is Dan and the other is Tama, and they are friends in high school, and they both want to be kind of professional climbers, but they come from very different circumstances and very different lives. I love this. I think the friendship in here is so well done. I was reading it and I thought, oh, you know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit? That Found Family Friendship group. It's just the two of them, is the book Tomorrow, and Tomorrow. And it is, in fact, blurbed by Gabrielle Zevin. So I thought, okay, I'm onto something. I really, really enjoyed this book. It is very good, particularly if you do enjoy climbing. I used to be a massive climber. I haven't climbed in a couple years now, just circumstances have changed, but just reading about being outside and being on rock and learning how to survey the terrain and the dangers that come with it and all that stuff, I thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed this book and that aspect of it particularly. We then have the last book in this pile of stuff that I have read, and that is This Book Made Me Think of You by Libby Page. I enjoyed this book. It sounds heavier than it actually was, because you're following a woman whose husband has passed away, and then 6 months after he passes away, she gets a phone call from the manager of a bookstore, and it turns out her husband has left her a book for every month of the year for the next 12 months. And you're just kind of following her journey as she gets these books and how she's kind of recuperating and dealing with her grief. And I think it was an easy read. I hesitate to say the word fun because it is very much a book about grief, but I think the writing kept it quite, and not in a bad way, but quite almost superficial sort of. So you're not really delving super deep into like the inner turmoil of this woman, but you are seeing kind of how she's trying to get herself out of this grief bubble that she's living in, and understandably so. It reminded me of The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry a little bit, in that there are, at the beginning of every chapter, let's see if I can find one for you, there are book recommendations, and they are real books. So books to read when you don't feel like reading is January's. And where's another one? June is books for when life feels like a mess, and you've got another list of books. I think that this was really, really clever. Book recommendation for books about bookshops is November's. I just really enjoyed that aspect of it. I thought it was a little bit more interactive. You could create so much content around this book, but ultimately I did enjoy the story. I think the writing was good. It was just a very easy read, and I think if you've been considering picking this one up, just know that you're gonna have a good time, but it's not like so deep that you're going to be traumatized by the grief in it. What do we have next? We have This Is Where the Serpent Lives by Danielle Moine-Newton. And this, again, don't know what it's about or why I have it. I think, is it another one of the climate fiction books? I have no idea, but I've picked it up and I'm going to give it a go. If you've read any of these books, let me know. Tell me what I need to prioritize, because who knows if I'm actually going to get to all of these before the time runs out. I am going to focus on the ones that have wait lists, because they're the ones that obviously I'm not going to be able to renew. The Book of Guilt by Kathryn Chidgey. I really enjoy Kathryn Chidgey, and I have tried reading this book before, but I was reading it electronically, and sometimes just reading a book electronically doesn't work for me, so I got it in the physical copy. And in this you are following triplets, but I guess something weird is going on with their mother, because they have like a morning mother, an afternoon mother, and a night mother. I'm not totally sure how it all plays out, but I am looking forward to reading that, because like I said, I've always enjoyed Kathryn Chidgey in the past. Another Matt Dinniman, his new one, Operation Bounce House. I am looking forward to reading this. However, the people that I have seen reading this who are big Dungeon Crawler Carl fans don't necessarily love this one, so I'm trying to temper my expectations a little bit. But in this one, is it another one where aliens come? What happens when you become the planet's final boss? I don't know, but I'm gonna read it. The Book of Records by Madeline Thien. This is a book that I think saw some people predicting it for the Women's Prize in Fiction. And I've heard people talking about how the writing, it's possible that the way it's told is really weird, but that the story itself is absolutely spectacular. So I picked this one up. I'm gonna give it a go. Does it have anything quick? It leaps across centuries past and future as if different eras were separated by only a door. I don't know what that means. but it's here and I'll look into it. We've got 2 more in this. How to Commit Post-Colonial Murder by Nina McConaughey. Little guy. At least this is one that I would be able to probably get through in like a sitting or 2, which is kind of nice. Another debut novel. The narrator and her sister killed their uncle and they're blaming the British. Okay, cool. Sounds like fun. And then So Old, So Young by Grant Ginder. And this, I believe, is you're following like an older set of friends, but it kind of like takes you back in time a little bit. 5 parties over the course of 20 years bring 6 college friends together. So I will be reading this one as well. And then I do also have, let me grab it because it's sitting over here because it's the one I'm going to be reading this morning. Final book from this book haul, The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. Stop rocking. I wasn't super keen to pick this book up, but I've heard only really good things about it. And from readers that I feel like are quite particular with their fantasy, it's a big guy, but fantasy I find when you can get into it reads pretty quickly. I don't know if it's romantasy or if it's just fantasy, I have no idea. But this is the one that is on the TBR for today. It will be off the TBR and hopefully just onto the R pile by the end of the day. So here we go. That is the library haul. Those are the books that are currently in my possession from the library that I need to read. I do have books on my shelf that I need to actually get to that I would really like to read. I would love to finish the final John Gwynne trilogy that I have sitting there. And I have book 3 in the Devoured World series by Megan E. O'Keefe that I would also really like to get to, but they just might be postponed for a little bit while I work my way through this pile. So tell me if you've read any of these, which ones I should be prioritizing, and what book are you currently on the hold list for at the library that you're just dying to get your hands on. I am going to drink, read, and have myself a lovely day. I hope you do too. Bye.